Harold's Trip to the Sky by Crockett Johnson. One night, Harold got up, made sure there was a moon, so he wouldn't see things in the dark, and he went to get a drink of water. He wondered about the things people see in the dark and where they came from. He was glad he couldn't see them in the moonlight. Suddenly he realized he didn't see anything, and on the moonlight there was nothing to see. He was in the middle of the desert. No wonder where he was so thirsty, but luckily he had bought his purple crayon, and he knew where to find water in a desert. There was always a pool of it somewhere near a palm tree. Harold drank deeply. There's nothing like drinking ice cold water in the desert. But there isn't much else to do on the desert, Harold realized as he looked around. He sat, maybe play in the sand. Then he remembered how the government is fun in the desert. It shoots off rockets. Harold decided to go to the moon on a good fast rocket. He figured he could get there back in time for breakfast. He fired the rocket and off he went. But the rocket missed the moon. It missed it by a mile. And Harold went up and up. Up and up. He went into the dark. Harold tried to see where he was going by the stars. He tried planets and comets. What he really needed to light his way was another moon. But when Harold looked closely, what he saw wasn't a moon. To his amazement, it was a flying saucer. Harold had heard about flying saucers. People saw them in the dark, and nobody knew who was inside flying them. He decided he had better land this rocket right away. He landed it with a hump on the bottom of a strange planet. There was no danger of falling off his big planet. However, Harold thought he would feel a little more comfortable at the top. He remembered what planet he was on. In the dark light of the stars, looked for some sign might tell him he was on Mars. Harold had heard on Man on Mars, so he yelled a couple of hellos hopefully. He thought of a flying saucer out there. He thought of the people see. In the dark, he felt a great need for company. He was sure any man on Mars would be cordial to a visitor like Harold, who had come all the way to chat with him. He had drawn a scanty knowledge of what a man on Mars looked like, but His looks wasn't matter in the dark, so Harold didn't care much what he turned out to look like. And all Harold wanted was to know there was some sort of friendly face close by, even if he couldn't see it clearly in the dark. Then all of a sudden, Harold didn't see it clearly. It was the face of the thing. It was a thing people see in the dark. It was sitting in a flying saucer. Harold ran. Then he fought and stopped. Probably the thing was about to fly to Earth and scare somebody, maybe some little child. Bravely, Harold crept back. He approached on tiptoes so the thing wouldn't hear him, and he reached out with his purple crayon, so he put a completely damaging crack in a flying saucer. Before the thing couldn't grab him, he was off again, chuckling triumphantly. He went as fast as he could in the dark. Happily, most by the way was downhill. He hoped he couldn't fall head over heels. He arrived safely heel over head at the bottom of Mars, where the rocket was. But by this time, Harold had had enough of adventure. He wanted to get home in a dependable way. So he climbed down on the stars. It was sure but slow, and the points of the stars hurt his feet. Harold wished it was he went home. He realized that the best way to wish on a good big shooting star, instead of wishing it happened to him at the last moment to jump aboard. He shot right down to Earth, where he made a neat 2-point landing. He had passed the moon on the way, and he wondered what had happened on it. It wasn't anywhere around. Then he realized the night he was just about gone. It was time for the sun to come up. He was hungry. The sun was right on time. It came up big and bright. Harold remarked that it was going to be a nice day. Nobody was ever bothered by flying saucers and things in the sunshine. But for a startling moment, he thought he saw a flying saucer. It was on the horizon, looking as if it had just come into land. He was mistaken. It wasn't a saucer. It was an oatmeal bowl. Harold happened to look hot breakfast. He quickly drew up a chair, and he sat down to eat. The end.